Have you ever found yourself replaying an old argument in your mind, long after the words have faded? Or maybe you wake up with a knot in your stomach, haunted by regrets or anxieties about things you can't change. Most of us carry these invisible burdens: resentment, guilt, worry, believing that if we just hold on a little tighter, we'll somehow regain control or find closure. But what if the real path to freedom isn't about holding on at all? What if it's about letting go? The ancient Stoics faced the same storms of emotion that we do today, but they discovered a secret. True strength isn't found in clinging to what hurts us, but in learning to release it. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic art of letting go, a practice that can transform not just how you handle pain, but how you live your entire life. Stay with me until the end, because the final insight could change the way you approach every challenge you face. One of the most profound lessons the Stoics left us is deceptively simple. There are things we can control and things we cannot. Yet, in our modern world, we're conditioned to believe that with enough effort, planning, or worry, we can bend reality to our will. We try to micromanage every detail: our careers, relationships, even the opinions others hold about us. We obsess over outcomes, convinced that if we just try harder, we can force life to cooperate. But the Stoics saw through this illusion. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of Stoicism's greatest teachers, famously said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." He understood that the more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more we suffer. Imagine a sailor in a storm, frantically trying to command the wind and the waves. The harder he fights, the more exhausted and desperate he becomes. But the wise sailor, like the Stoic, focuses on what he can control: his own actions, his own responses, and lets the rest unfold as it will. Let me share a story. Years ago, I found myself consumed by anxiety over a job interview. I rehearsed every possible question, worried about the competition, and obsessed over the outcome. The more I tried to control every variable, the more tense and distracted I became. When the day finally arrived, I was so wound up that I stumbled over my words and left feeling defeated. It was only later, reflecting on Stoic wisdom, that I realized my mistake. I had poured all my energy into things outside my control, instead of focusing on my preparation and my attitude. Most people exhaust themselves trying to control the uncontrollable. The Stoic, however, finds peace by accepting what cannot be changed and directing energy inward, toward their own character and choices. This radical acceptance isn't passive, it's the foundation of true freedom. And it's the first step toward letting go. So, if you've ever felt trapped by circumstances, remember, the key isn't to grip tighter, but to discern what's truly yours to hold. If we accept that much of life is beyond our control, a new question naturally arises. What do we do with the pain, disappointment, and frustration that inevitably follow? Most people, when faced with adversity, instinctively resist it. We push away uncomfortable feelings, distract ourselves, or pretend they don't exist. Some of us bottle up our emotions, hoping they'll disappear if we ignore them long enough. Others let pain define them, replaying old wounds until they become part of our identity. But the Stoic doesn't run from pain, nor do they let it consume them. Instead, they practice what I like to call emotional alchemy, the art of transforming suffering into strength. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, faced betrayal, loss, and constant pressure. Yet, in his private writings, he reminds himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." For the Stoic, every challenge is an opportunity to grow wiser, braver, and more compassionate. Let's make this practical. The next time you feel hurt or frustrated, pause and ask yourself, what is this experience here to teach me? Instead of resisting the emotion, observe it with curiosity. Is it pointing to a value you hold dear? Is it revealing an area where you can grow? By reframing pain as a teacher rather than an enemy, you reclaim your power. You stop being a passive victim of circumstance and become an active participant in your own transformation. Most people see adversity as a curse. The Stoic sees it as raw material for greatness. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, you'll find that even the hardest moments can be turned into stepping stones. The next time life tests you, remember, you have the power to turn pain into wisdom and setbacks into fuel for your journey. This is the heart of emotional alchemy, and it's available to you right now. If transforming pain into power is the first step, the next is learning the art of detachment. Now, detachment is often misunderstood. Many people hear the word and imagine coldness or indifference, a shutting down of the heart. But for the Stoic, detachment is not about caring less. It's about caring wisely. It's the difference between gripping something so tightly that it breaks and holding it gently, knowing you can let go when the time comes. In our world, we're taught to measure success by outcomes and possessions. We chase after promotions, praise, relationships, and material things, believing that happiness lies just beyond the next achievement. Most people become prisoners of this chase, their self-worth rising and falling with every gain or loss. But the Stoic sees things differently. They focus on what truly belongs to them, their character, their choices, their response to life's events. Everything else, no matter how precious, is ultimately outside their control. Epictetus, who was born into slavery and lost everything he owned, used a simple analogy to teach this lesson. He said, "If you have a jug, love it as a jug. If it breaks, remember that it was only a jug." The point isn't to love less, but to love with open hands. When we accept the impermanence of things, jobs, relationships, even our own health, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. We can appreciate what we have without being owned by it. Think about a time you lost something you valued. A friendship, an opportunity, a cherished object. Did the pain come from the loss itself, or from the belief that you couldn't be whole? Without it, the Stoic practices detachment not to escape life, but to embrace it fully, without being shackled by fear or longing. This is true freedom, to accept what comes, to let go of what leaves, and to remain anchored in your own inner virtue. When you master this art, you discover a peace that no external circumstance can take away. Understanding the philosophy of letting go is one thing. Living it is another. Most people, when faced with discomfort or uncertainty, reach for distraction or denial. We scroll through our phones, binge-watch shows, or bury ourselves in work, hoping to escape the uneasy feelings that come with change or loss. But the Stoic knows that true freedom isn't found in avoidance. It's found in facing reality fully and honestly. So how do we practice letting go in our daily lives? The Stoics developed simple, powerful rituals to train the mind and heart. The first is journaling. Each morning or evening, take a few minutes to write down what's troubling you. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, what would it look like to release it? This act of reflection helps you separate what's yours to change from what's not, and it brings clarity to your emotional landscape. Another practice is negative visualization. It may sound counterintuitive, but the Stoics would regularly imagine losing the things they cherished, health, possessions, even loved ones. This isn't about courting misery, but about preparing the mind for life's inevitable changes. By visualizing loss, you loosen your grip on what you cannot keep, and you learn to appreciate what you have more deeply, without fear. Finally, there's voluntary discomfort. Most people seek comfort at all costs, but the Stoic occasionally chooses discomfort, taking a cold shower, fasting, or walking instead of driving. These small acts remind us that we can endure more than we think. and that our happiness doesn't depend on external ease. Try integrating one of these rituals into your routine this week. Notice how it feels to face your fears rather than flee from them. The comfort of avoidance is fleeting, but the freedom that comes from letting go is lasting. With each small act, you build resilience and reclaim your power. One day at a time, we've explored the rituals and mindsets that help us let go. But now we arrive at the heart of Stoic wisdom, the ultimate freedom. Don't miss this final insight, because it could change how you see yourself and your life forever. Most people spend their days chasing happiness through accumulation, more achievements, more possessions, more validation. The world tells us that fulfillment is just one more accomplishment away. But the Stoic sees the trap in this thinking. The more we cling, the heavier our burdens become. True freedom, the Stoics teach, is not the absence of hardship, but the absence of unnecessary attachment. It's the ability to walk through life unburdened, to meet both fortune and misfortune with the same steady heart. Imagine the difference. Most people are like travelers, dragging overloaded suitcases, exhausted by the weight of expectations and desires. The Stoic, by contrast, travels light. They carry only what is essential: their values, their integrity, their willingness to adapt. This doesn't mean you stop caring or striving. It means you learn to hold your goals and relationships with open hands, not clenched fists. You give your best effort, but you don't let your peace depend on the outcome. When setbacks come, you don't collapse. You adjust, you learn, and you move forward, lighter than before. Here's an advanced practice. Each morning, repeat the affirmation, "I am not my circumstances. I am my choices." Let this guide you. As you encounter both joy and disappointment, notice how your perspective shifts when you release the need to control everything, and instead focus on your response. The Stoic pursuit isn't about acquiring more, but about releasing what weighs you down. When you let go of what you cannot keep, you make space for what truly matters: tranquility, resilience, and a deep, unshakable freedom. This is the power of living unburdened, and it's yours to claim. As we reach the end of this journey, let's pause and reflect on the path we've walked together. We began by recognizing the hidden weight we all carry: resentments, regrets, anxieties that quietly shape our days. We saw how most people, in their search for certainty, try to control the uncontrollably, only to find themselves more entangled in suffering. The Stoic, however, chooses a different way, discerning what is truly theirs to influence and releasing the rest. We explored how pain, when met with courage and curiosity, can be transformed into wisdom. Instead of resisting or suppressing our emotions, we can use them as raw material for growth. We learned the art of detachment, not as coldness, but as a deep acceptance of life's impermanence. By letting go of our grip on outcomes and possessions, we free ourselves to live more fully, more peacefully, through daily rituals. Journaling, negative visualization, voluntary discomfort, we discovered practical ways to practice letting go, building resilience and clarity with each small step. And finally, we arrived at the ultimate freedom, the realization that our peace does not depend on what we hold on to, but on what we are willing to release. Here is the Stoic secret, the insight that can change your life. Freedom is not found in clinging, but in letting go. So I invite you to ask yourself, right now, what will you let go of today? Carry this question with you and let it guide you toward a lighter, freer, and more meaningful life. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to take the next step on your journey. Like this video if you found value in these Stoic insights, and subscribe for more wisdom on self-mastery and emotional freedom. Share your commitment in the comments by writing the affirmation, "I choose freedom over control." Your words might inspire someone else to begin letting go as well. And if you're ready to go even deeper, watch the next video linked here. It's filled with more Stoic practices and stories to help you grow stronger, calmer, and more resilient. Remember, you're not alone on this path. Together, we can build a life of true freedom, one choice at a time.